Your mind and the brain essentially has neural pathways with the eye, which is connected to get and extract those information.
And which is why we say that have an eye contact conversation because you can read a lot more.
We did a little experiment. So I was one of persons who was getting interviewed by a real person and by an AI robot. Now the exact same questions were posed by the actual interviewer and the robot, and I just could not answer many of the questions with the robot because I could not get that emotional modulation. When you read something, you're most likely 30% to remember and 70% will just go off. If you hear it, possibly another 10% would be added. Smell is great way to reinforce. When I'm selling something, I don't need to be very dry in it. The person feel, make the person smell, make the person touch. That's very important.
Welcome to Sales Igniter. I'm Leena Jayachandran, CEO and founder of Transdefy, a sales performance and improvement organization. We're dedicated to transforming sales teams and driving business growth. Having dedicated my life to the world of sales, I'm deeply passionate about this noble profession. I truly believe that sales is more than just a career. It's a force for good. Salespeople are not just closing deals, they're facilitators of change, driving progress, innovation, and meaningful conversations and connections with their clients across all industries. Through Sales Igniter, we bring out of the box thinkers, industry leaders, innovators, and experts to share actionable insights that inspires, educates, and elevate the way we approach sales and businesses. Today, we have an exceptional guest with us, Dr. Shweta, a leading neurologist and a visionary behind the Limitless Brain Initiative. Dr. Shweta specializes in understanding the intricate workings of the brain and how it influences our behaviors, decisions, and of course, the art of selling. Her work bridges neuroscience with practical strategies to enhance communication, build stronger relationships. So, in this session, we will deep dive into how neurolinguistic programming can be influential for sales and understand what is NLP and the concept of sensory selling. So, if you are passionate about learning how neuroscience can transform sales, be sure to subscribe to Sales Igniter and stay tuned for more insightful episodes like this. So, Dr. Shweta, welcome to the episode. Really, really happy to have you on board. We hear about NLP a lot, and I know that you're a master trainer in NLP. You've gone through these, sessions, and you train so many people. Tell me, what is NLP first of all, and how does it really work for sales, and does it really work for sales?
Thank you so much, Leena, for inviting me to this wonderful Igniter podcast. Because as I think we all listen from each other, that's when we evolve and learn. So wonderful opportunity for all the people who are in sales, and I would say not in sales as well, to
Yes.
actually gain a lot of insights. Right now, they may be wondering, what is a neurologist doing on a sales podcast?
Yeah.
And I always say that, life, everything is about sales. I'm a doctor, but I'm selling an idea to a patient that you need to be healthy.
Absolutely.
A teacher is selling an idea that a particular thing works in a particular fashion. So we are all into selling technically. Now, neurolinguistics programming, although is an old, technically a pseudoscience, it's not
Okay.
a real science.
Okay.
Let's break the myth there. I mean, I come from a hardcore neuroscience background. So, but what is very important in the perspective of neurolinguistic program is mind, brain, body communication.
Oh, brilliant.
The way you sit, the way you are thinking, it's everything is about self-referential thoughts, which means what is going on in my mind and what is going on in your mind. I think sales is one form of a mastered communication art. And I love what you say, because I have been a couple of times in interaction with you, that sales is a noble profession because you facilitate the choices for a particular person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not like you want to push a certain thing. That is
Absolutely.
called selling.
Yeah.
Selling is really facilitating the other person to understand that.
Yeah.
But what is that person bringing there? The person is coming with a mind, a preformed filter of that brain, what the person has, a particular type of an expectation. So you're not just selling to the person, you are actually selling to the person with a preformed habit, behavior, mind, and brain.
Right. So do you think that when you say mind-body connection, I love that word. It's a mind-body communication, rather.
Absolutely.
So I like the word you said. It's pseudo.
Pseudo-scientific. Yeah. I mean, that's what Wikipedia mentions as well, you know.
Yeah. So tell me one thing. Like, do you think that we all need to be? Is it about self-awareness? Because, like you said, we all are selling. Right?
Absolutely.
And it's a myth that only salespeople as sales professional, as a title, like a sales manager or sales executive, are only going and having that conversation. But everybody in different functions are having conversation with each other. Hence, you're selling certain concept or certain conversations are being exchanged, rather, right? And to make a decision, whether for the good or for the bad.
Absolutely.
So do you think that when you say that mind-body communication, how do you actually imbibe that as a salesperson to their benefit?
So let's start with the first very simple thing of rapport building, right?
Right.
That is a fundamental concept which we need to understand, that when do I feel comfortable?
Yeah.
When you make me comfortable.
Absolutely.
So if I am buying something from you and if you are a salesperson, you need to be very mindful of my body language.
Yes.
Let's say if my body language is very closed, which means I'm doubting what are you going to tell me, specifically with the folded hands, you know.
Yeah, when you sit like this, you're not ready for a
Absolutely.
discussion.
So I need to be talking to you eye to eye. In fact, today afternoon's podcast, I was speaking to another doctor and we said, how many doctors are actually looking into the patient's eyes and talking? They're busy with their computers and then there's no
They're just
real
cheering,
communication, which is
absolutely.
happening. When you do that rapport building, that trust, that credibility is built. Now, fundamentally from our mind and the brain, we have certain filters.
Okay.
I already have predetermined things in my mind which I've already preformed.
Absolutely.
You are selling me an X thing just because of your Y benefit.
Right.
I am putting my benefit out of picture because this is how I am programmed, right?
Yeah.
Now, I am also going to see the world from the glasses that I wear.
Yeah.
And those glasses are nothing but the filters that I have in my mind.
Right.
And these filters can be because of my past experiences.
Yeah.
These filters can be because what I have seen in my environment.
Yeah.
These filters can also be because I've been taught like that.
Exactly.
You know? It is also how I've been raised in let's say a certain culture will have a certain expectation of certain products, for example.
Absolutely.
While certain cultures, even a little bit of a product which is hula is okay for them.
Yeah.
So this is where my predetermined filters come into play.
Okay.
Now, you as a salesperson or an ex-salesperson need to understand my filters first. How am I judging you? How am I understanding that concept from what you are going to share it with me? And this has to be done in a very, very subtle, very quick, very agile way, because you can't sit and say, oh no, let me just go and see every single moment, and that is the reason why I'm not a big fan of mirroring. That you need to mirror the exact same way that you are sitting cross-leg and I need to sit cross-leg. It cannot be obvious.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is then, sort of a forced rapport building.
The moment it's forced, then you're not building relationship.
Absolutely,
Because the opposite person is also catching those cues. Right?
Absolutely.
So it is the same for the salesperson. I mean, salesperson is a tag, but anybody for that matter, for a communication. When you and me are talking, when I'm forcefully mirroring, then you catch that cue.
Now see why mirroring was in the first place important, because mirroring sort of gives the thing that you and me are not thinking differently. It sort of indirectly, those physiological cues make us understand that we are thinking almost similar, and we all don't want to be very different. Let me put it in a different way. We have 3 different brains that we operate from. There's something called the brain stem, which is allowing us to breathe, allowing us to have the heart going on, survival brain.
Right.
There's another brain which is called also the limbic brain. Limbic brain is all about fight, flight, fear, and freeze. It is about good old days when we used to be hunter-gatherers. All the threat, what comes in, because I'm always guarded,
Right.
Will this be benefiting me? Will this be good for me? Will this be bad
Always
for me?
questioning.
Absolutely. And that is protecting you, right? The limbic brain's job is to protect you. And then there is a prefrontal cortex. Now, the interesting thing is they both are like seesaws. So they don't work. So once my prefrontal cortex is active, my limbic is quiet. Now, my limbic, when it's active, my prefrontal cortex cannot work.
Okay.
And this prefrontal cortex is very important for decision.
Okay.
Do I buy this or do I not buy this? Now, when my limbic system, which means the threats must be completely quietened, which means I should not have doubt on you. I should not have much of the unrealistic expectations from you. I should not be threatened by you that I need to do something forcefully just because you are coming and having a conversation with me. And in that process, a little bit of mirroring, a subtle mirroring, talking with trust and credibility. And that was the reason, why we drink, let's say, a warm cup of coffee or a warm cup of tea in a conversation,
Right.
because that sort of builds our physiological processes
Okay.
at the same level. Now, when my breathing is coming at the same level, when my blood pressure or sort of the vital signs are coming at the same level, my thoughts are also at the same level.
Yeah, alignment.
It's called entrainment from
Okay.
the neuroscientific
Okay.
language.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
in the good old days, the doctor is wanting to examine a patient. They
Yeah.
say, deep breath,
Yes,
take
yeah.
a deep breath. Actually, yes, we want to examine the lungs, but what we are trying to do also is entraining. So my breath gets entrained with yours, and we have done such very interesting couple experiments, The moment there is a disconcordance, you should see what is happening also in the breathing patterns.
Okay. It they breathe faster.
Oh,
or-
absolutely.
Yeah.
And when there is no matching, there won't be any mental communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are all subtle cues. So if I see a person who's very agitated, very restless, I need to understand that he or she is not ready for listening something.
Yeah.
Already the limbic brain is fired,
Yeah.
already that threat system is activated. It's like that little red thing which goes on, and
Yeah.
then what do I communicate? Nothing.
Yeah. And so I think when you say mirroring, I think engaging the person is far better than just mirroring forcefully. And that could be in the form of reframing what you've understood. Because we say reaffirm whether you've understood it right. Because my perception of what you are sharing with me and your perception of what I understood could be very different.
Yeah, because we are different learners, right?
Yeah.
Some of us are visual learners, some of us are auditory learners, some
Yeah.
of us are kinesthetic.
Yes.
Now, some people, they need to touch something before they can make a sale decision, Some
Yeah.
people need to just look at it.
Yeah.
Now, we were just
Yeah.
talking that, if I am with a Zoom video call with somebody,
Yeah.
and if there's no camera,
Yeah.
I'm completely off.
Disconnected. Yeah, disconnected.
Because my mind straight away gets into some dreamery and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So every person is very different.
Yeah.
In fact, in NLP, they say that, depending on the way your eye is moving or the eye tracking, you understand how that person is constructing that
Okay.
particular thing. For example, you ask me something and then I look up and come back, which means I'm visually imagining that thing.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
creating a picture.
Okay.
So you tell me that, I'm going to sell you an X car which has
Yeah.
Y features and all that. Automatically, I'll be looking up to construct that abstract image of a car.
Okay, that's interesting. So that's a cue you can catch.
Yes.
That the opposite person wants to visualize a lot of things to really
Absolutely.
understand and agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
And
interesting.
then sometimes, as we are talking, we turn our eyes to the left, we turn
Yeah.
our eyes to the right. Basically, we are trying to extract that information. In fact, my latest book is called Conversation with Eyes.
Eyes, yeah, I've
And
seen
it
that.
has, yes,
Yes.
it is basically talking about the exact same thing.
Wow.
That your mind and the brain essentially has neural pathways with the eye, which is connected to get and extract those information.
Okay.
For example, if I'm looking to the right, possibly I am creating an image which is not present.
Okay.
If I'm looking to the left, I'm already searching the library. Oh, where is that? And let me pull it out, know.
Wow.
When I'm looking down, which means I'm more kinesthetically oriented. I need to really get the feel of it, So it all depends on sort of subtle cues again.
Okay,
So
okay.
once you learn this, I use it in my clinic, with the patient.
Okay.
It can be applied everywhere.
Brilliant. So they say in our we say, right, that your eyes are the mirror of your mind, and
Yes.
which truly means that.
Absolutely.
That okay, I didn't know that right and left also has a certain. I think this is brilliant for the audiences to know, and not only for the salespeople, but for everybody who's listening. That how, and which is why we say that have an eye contact conversation, because you
Absolutely.
can read a lot more,
Yeah.
and then modulate it.
And that is the reason why a lot of virtual conversations are beyond me, Whether you do that same thing when you are in the context of a screen. I
Yeah.
don't know. Whether you do
That's
the
right.
exact. In fact, we did a little experiment and that was very interesting, So I was one of the persons who was getting interviewed
Okay.
by a real person and by an AI robot.
Okay.
It was a humanish looking robot but with limited emotional features.
Okay.
Now the exact same questions were posed by the actual interviewer and the robot.
Okay.
And I just could not answer many of the questions with the robot.
Wow.
Because I could not get that emotional
emotion.
modulation.
Yeah.
So what are you feeling? I should be able to gauge from the facial expressions, from the appearances of your body language. You know, am I being heard? Am I
Right.
not being heard? And then comes the real language.
Yeah.
That when I communicate something to you, reading back to me whether did I get that.
Yeah.
That is where the real
Reaffirming.
language piece also
Yeah,
comes into it.
yeah.
They say that when I say something, let's say, and then I say but, then everything after the but will be remembered.
Okay.
When I say this and that, both the things will be remembered.
Okay.
So the influence, the where do you emphasize?
Yeah, those
what
words.
part do you stop, you know? And then do you stop so that you get a little bit of a response? All this is very important, I feel, in the
In the world of sales, I'm now relating to it.
Yes.
That you unconsciously are picking those clues
Yes.
and then you're modulating, and that's the difference between successful salespeople and average salespeople, and hard-working average salespeople.
Since you're talking
Yeah.
about stress, yes, I think generally sales is considered to be a very,
Very
stressful thing.
stressful.
But let's talk about anchoring. Anchoring
Yeah.
is also one of the
Yeah, I was
concepts.
just coming to that. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I read minds, right? Just joking. So anchoring is something very, very interesting in this context. For example,
Yeah.
I'm a salesperson and I want always in that particular situation, I get stressed because I'm always linked to my targets and a lot of things are going on. And plus, maybe I had a very bad day,
at
already
work.
starting from my
Home
home,
to
you know,
work,
my
yeah.
spouse. So many things were
Yes.
happening and I'm already stressed. And then a client sort of triggers my limbic brain.
Yeah.
Limbic brain is all about fight, flight,
Fight and
freeze,
fear,
you know,
fear
and
and
I don't want to do any of those because
Yeah.
I want to get the deal going. So if I, let's say, touch a certain point in my body, I touch a certain surface and a particular thing which I continuously sort of train my brain to be, the moment, let's say, I am touching my thumb, you know,
Yeah.
of my right hand every single time, this will disengage me from getting into the limbic loop of feeling fight, flight, fear, or freeze.
Yeah, it disconnects.
It's disconnects.
It's like a
yeah.
short circuit.
You
Okay.
won't even realize that I
Yeah.
just did that and then I was like completely
Yeah.
diffused. You know, I'm not very angry. I'm
Yeah.
not coming
Yeah.
back at you because I just broke this circuit down. You know.
And some people, in fact, one is to, of course, touch or then to rub your nails.
Yes.
You see people doing
Yes,
that, and that's purely to disconnect because your mind needs to disconnect from that situation. Others, you're going into a downward spiral. I think that's a very interesting point you've come, that you go with that thought process as well, that if there is something.
I think 2 days back, both of us heard a very interesting conversation where they were talking about that. Let's say, you know, I'm talking about my pre-program filters.
Yeah.
I am going on Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai, let's say, and there is an ambulance which comes behind me. I will immediately give
move.
sideway because that is
Yes.
programming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would mostly
Yeah.
my brain tells me the cue that hey, the person would be sick and I need to give way,
Yeah.
and I'm empathetically doing that. But let's say a black, you know, suddenly a Mercedes comes and crosses by, and then you would suddenly have the limbic brain firing,
Yeah,
saying
why is he
why the
doing
hell
this?
he had to come, you know?
Exactly.
But then there could be again an injured person who is
Absolutely.
going to the hospital.
Yeah.
But my programming does not allow me to quickly understand that. So
Right.
we all behave from the perspective of the programming that we have. So I think before even the salesperson understands the customer, it is so imperative
yourself.
to understand the self.
Yourself, yeah.
It's all about
Yeah.
understanding how this instrument operates, you know.
Yeah. And because you don't have control on that environment of your
Yes.
client, because you don't know what you're entering into.
Absolutely.
You have control on your own. And that's why I say sales is such a noble profession, where
Absolutely.
you're really, understanding yourself, which is so important, without which if you can't understand your client, right?
No,
And-
I think also in sales, as you said, objections come
Yeah,
in, right? And sometimes
absolutely.
what you do is, and the brain has that tendency. There's a brain part called default mode network, which is continuously active and ruminating on the things which did not work out. So, for
Right.
example, I did not have a good day, something happened, there was a fight which happened, there was a conversation which didn't go well, there was a sales deal which did not
Yeah.
get closed. So, my brain is constantly processing that. Now, this is a natural tendency of the brain.
Correct.
So what do I need to do? I need to learn to erase these traumatic memories.
Right.
I learn to quickly, sort of go past by that page and then, let that page be a history. This is also where techniques such as Swish and all what are NLP
Okay.
techniques help, because I want to just get rid of it. And
Right.
I like
Consciously.
I like one of, although these are not very, I would say, useful techniques when it comes to psychology. Like, people say, oh, you can treat schizophrenia. Yeah, that's not really true, because there are no clinical trials
Okay.
of NLP. 2012, there was a huge
On such
paper
extreme
on such an
cases.
extreme cases. But
Right.
yes, these are small little memories,
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of it and sort of start fresh. I
Right.
don't want that brain to, it's like consuming my RAM, right?
Right.
I have a little RAM which
Yeah,
is
you
getting
delete it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's a little Trojan which is coming and not getting me to work. So what do I
Right.
do? So in that situation, let's say there was a rude customer. Let's
Right.
put it that. I mean, I'm sure the salespeople, I mean, we as doctors face a lot of micro stress,
Yes,
and
I can imagine.
when I say that, people are like, oh, you guys, why do you have micro stressors?
Mm-hmm.
I said, the moment the patient, you get about 10 minutes late, let's say there was a
Yeah.
previous case and there was emergency going on,
The patient
there
is,
will
like,
yeah
very
there will be
upset.
just patients would be upset sitting
Yeah.
outside, and also this empathetic, because it's a transaction, right? That the entire thing, because of the commercialization of
Yeah.
it's a transaction.
Yeah.
I have paid for you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you better be on time.
Yeah, absolutely,
But then
yeah.
you forget that you are talking to a healer.
Yeah,
You are going
yeah.
to get healed. So there
Right.
has to be some form of this kind of I would say, but I think that's difficult, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's difficult,
you have paid,
absolutely,
and then
yeah.
you want your
Yeah.
thing to come in. So what does a salesperson do when such a customer who is rude?
Yeah, because the
and-
customer also has the same situation in his mind, in her mind or in his mind,
Absolutely.
that you are supposed to come to me and for the order or for the discussion, it's your need.
Correct.
But the fact is, Dr. Shweta, is that the customer also feels that I need you. He or she feels it, but they don't emphasize it, which is a reality, right?
Yeah.
It is not a one-way traffic, right? It's not about you getting the deal. It's about when you work with me.
Yeah.
That's what the client is thinking.
Yeah.
When you work with me, I'm going to get into a partnership.
Yes.
Of course, they don't emphasize that. But if we go with that thought process that I need to disconnect the person from the
Absolutely.
problem, from the
Yes.
objection,
Yes.
then I think what you're talking about, disconnecting in whatever form or shape, you keep the people out of the problem.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why in NLP what they do is, I want to erase this traumatic memory. For
Yeah.
example, Lena came to me
Yeah.
and there was a rejection, and then what do I do? So I need to erase Lena's behavior, not
Yeah,
Lena,
exactly.
So how do I do that? I convert you into a little cartoon, and then I
Okay.
make you walk backwards, and then little
Okay.
like that Tom and Jerry movie,
Oh,
and
wow.
then, I just make you disappear, because the brain, when you convert that, it's a little bit of a different circuit that now you
yeah.
engage with the brain.
Yeah.
You want to break that rumination.
Correct.
You want
Pattern.
to break that pattern.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is all about patterning,
Yeah.
mind and body patterning.
Yeah, I love that. I think you need to break the pattern and create new patterns.
Correct.
And that should be a conscious effort. I feel like,
Absolutely.
when you say consciously prepare when you go for your client's
Yes,
meeting,
yes.
this is a part of it. It's not only preparing the product and the service and what price and, what am I going to negotiate.
Oh, that is the hard way, right?
That's the hard way. That's
hard way.
very, tactical. Go the scientific way as well, that you
Yes.
actually work on yourself and preempt these challenges.
Absolutely.
So do you think, I want to come to another very important subject called sensory selling. But before
Yes.
that, do you think that these techniques
Mm-hmm.
should be incorporated into sales training? Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, right?
Absolutely.
People make decision for the organization. Unfortunately, the way most of us think as salespeople is that it's organization who's making a decision. No, it's a set of people with different perspectives working towards a common objective.
Absolutely.
Wanting to make a decision for the organization. But the core is people, right?
Absolutely. So
do
my
you-
latest book,
Yeah.
book, which is Future Ready Now, which is available on Amazon, we talk about exactly the same thing, that there are different kinds of people, and people's thought processes are sort of typified. When I
Right.
say you
Yeah.
can typify it, let me
Yeah.
give you an example. It's not like, I can bring out a brain and then cut it into 2 pieces or 4 pieces. But essentially, there is a left brain, there is a right brain, there is an upper brain, and then there is this limbic lower brain.
Right.
Now, metaphorically speaking, I can divide the people into those brain types,
Okay.
and I can understand how they are thinking. For example, a very left upper rational type of a thinker would be very data centric, would be very hardcore on give me the price, give me the budget, give me the exact cost, would be more towards
Specific.
to do with specific
Numbers and
number,
specific, yeah.
precision. It's
Okay, so that's
and
the upper left brain. So
Absolutely.
you understand that, yeah.
Entirely about the exactness of it. Then there is a process centric person who just is interested in the process of it, the how of it, the
Right.
organization of it, the structure of it. Then there are people who are in the right upper brain, which is more about innovation. They just get
Futuristic.
excited about something even which is vague. Now if you give a vague detail to this particular person which is left upper, you have lost that person for good,
Right.
because he or she cannot process that.
Right.
So you may be giving the best of the information in your mind because you think this is the coolest product, but you've not defined it well. There is no price tag to that. You've already lost that other customer.
Right.
And from the right lower, it is more about people, empathy, cooperation. So have you done anything to do better for that particular person? If you communicate that, then these are the people who actually get you. For example, in the advertisements, they would say that $1 will go to an X charity, and there are people who would love to buy the product. They
Yeah,
don't
just
need
for
the
that.
product.
Exactly.
But they want the charity to happen, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So conceptually, we all are able to sort of, buy based on what my dominant thinking preference
Right,
is,
right.
and my behavior is also going to be almost synergistic to what I'm thinking.
Right.
There are no dissonances. I would behave exactly the way that I'm thinking,
Right.
and I would also exactly think what I'm programmed to think.
Absolutely. And there's no right or wrong thinking.
No,
It's
there's-
because that's how your brain is divided. And I think this is very good point which you brought in. And I remember, I think you're talking about the My Brain design.
yes.
A limitless
Absolutely.
brain lab
Lab
actually
has-
works on that.
Yes.
And I think it's good for the audience. We'll put the link out there for people to reach out and
Absolutely.
understand what that is.
Correct.
And probably look at some samples, reports for
Absolutely.
them to understand. And I think it's a brilliant tool
Yes.
because once you understand how somebody operates, the bigger barrier is broken.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you understand that about yourself, you know when somebody's talking about data, numbers, it's a left upper brain.
Correct.
Somebody who's very processed, and then you're giving data to that person.
Correct.
You're completely disconnected.
Yeah.
And that's where objections happen, stress comes through.
Correct.
And somebody who's a very team player, who's
Yeah.
very empathetic, they want to bring people, and you're talking to them about, I'm going to work on this, I'm just
Yeah.
going to give you numbers. You're disconnected.
lost them.
You've
Yeah, you
lost
lost
them.
them.
And
Correct.
hence, I think this is a very important point you're bringing, that when you can take cues from these statements, when
Correct.
somebody says, show me the number,
Correct.
what is the outcome, then you know this person is very much. So this is where you disconnect people from the
Yes.
problem.
See,
Yeah.
I wish this was transparent and I was able to see all the mind processes
Yeah.
which are happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the
Not
case,
the
you know.
case.
And I hope if we were to put a little bit of a microphone or a speaker
And read it.
and read the minds, it would
And
be
the
a
picture comes
difficult difficult place to live in, right? It's going to be a
Absolutely.
miserable place to live in. So
Absolutely, yeah.
thankfully, God has made that
Yeah.
design. But when I'm speaking something, I'm not just speaking out. There is a pre-formed thinking
Absolutely, yeah.
which is happening behind the scene, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the good old ancient tradition, they also call that there is a speaking mind, and then there is a speaking actual vocal verbal
First
speaking.
your mind speaks, and then the words come
then
out.
the words come out, and
Right.
then words have power, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I begin a statement saying that, you know, I don't think so, this is making any sense, this is not the right thing, automatically your mind has formed an impression.
Yeah.
Don't think of a pink elephant.
Yeah, I already thought
I
about
already
it,
thought
how
about it.
big
Don't
it is.
think of a pink snake. Yes, precisely. I mean, this is the property
Yeah.
of the mind which is not in your control.
Right.
So when things are not in your control, all you do is you understand it,
Yeah,
and
correct.
then you work upon it. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So back to that question of, do you think we should incorporate in the trainings such techniques which will
100%.
100%,
100%. I do that in my clinic, you know.
Right.
I have two kinds of patients which I see. So when I have a patient who is very, very serious, who gives me a detailed history, opens the perfectly, everything is well arranged, asks me the right question, already has prepared the questions, what is it due for the meeting.
Right.
I know I'm dealing with that left upper or a
brain.
left lower brain, you know.
Yeah.
So I myself so that is mirroring.
That's
It's not
mirroring,
that-
yeah, actually,
precisely.
yeah.
So I am actually also in that state where I'm ready to answer very specific questions. I tell them very specifically, take let's say 20 milligrams of the tablet with 200 ml of water exactly at 7 p.m. After 30 minutes, you will anticipate nausea. After 2 hours, vomiting will happen, and tomorrow you will feel better at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And
So
I'm
they're happy.
Absolutely.
You're
because
completely connected with the person, and they feel they get you.
Yeah.
Or you get them.
Yes,
rather.
precisely. So, and this is humanness
Yeah,
into it,
absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Because if I am too self-referential, I only feel my way is right or the way I
Yeah,
have
it
thought
doesn't
is
work.
right. It doesn't work,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Specifically in the sales thing, I don't think so. It works whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I strongly feel that sales is I would say a magical communication thing
Yes.
which everybody should know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
even a little kid right from the school, these
Actually,
are
they
all
are the best salespeople. I feel children are the best salespeople because that's the real definition
Honesty,
of sales:
right?
honesty, transparency. They speak. They
speak
also
what it
feel
is.
empathetic about when they
Yes.
talk to you about certain things. There is emotion. I think that's a true definition. I feel that's a true definition of sales because you're connecting with people.
you're not camouflaging things. You're
Absolutely.
just as is.
Yeah.
However, sometimes, I mean, truth also needs to be spoken, but the
Yeah.
truth also needs to be spoken in a
a
way that
different way.
my mind is prepared to take.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
we say, yes, let's be truthful and honest about it,
Yeah.
but am I prepared? Am
Yeah.
I telling it in a way where the other person
Yeah.
is prepared to
Yeah.
hear? Customer service is the best example for
Yeah.
that. They promise all the hulas that nothing will happen,
Yeah.
and then if something happens, we are always there for you. There's
But
no
then-
always.
Yeah, the call never gets picked up.
Yeah,
But I
there's
think
no
that's-
always.
I think that's changing quite a bit as well because there's a lot of customer centricity which is coming in, and I would say they are the best salespeople because again they're connecting with what the
Yes.
customers needs, and we all need to be customer service professionals rather than called sales professionals.
Very true, very
So I think that's an important factor. That comes to another very specific word I always hear about: sensory selling. This is something we had a conversation just before we
Yes.
walked into the studio. What does sensory selling mean for you? Because I have a very different definition of it.
Okay. Let me share my definition first.
Yeah,
See, we are
the
all-
scientific,
the
the
scientific,
neuroscience.
yeah,
Yeah,
the-
neuroscience of sensory.
Correct.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like the way your eye is moving. You're trying to gather the information from your.
Oh my God. You're just.
No, I'm just joking.
yeah.
I'm not evaluating you. I'm not selling anything. Okay. So 5 senses, right? The
Right.
5 senses are the fundamentals of sort of, our existence. Let's put it
Right.
that way. I see something, I smell,
Yeah.
I hear, I touch, and I taste. Now, in the good old days, if you look at the way in which things used to be presented, it was a very interesting, let's imagine, from really many, many years back, I think we have enough gray hair.
Yeah.
So we can go really way past into a childhood.
Yeah.
You remember those puppet shows?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
It's exciting. The
totally,
way,
right?
Yeah.
There used to be sound, there
Yes.
used to be color,
Yeah.
there used to be a
Yeah.
very nice environment, which was, now this is where the deep impression sort of does not go away. I 100% every single childhood person who's gone through that will remember that puppet
At the
show.
moment you said puppet show, I immediately imagined
Correct.
the kind of show which I had gone through and still remember it.
Still remember.
Yeah,
And how
absolutely.
many years are we
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah,
right?
I don't
And
want to
then
reveal
those
my age,
snake-
but then
the snake charmer show
Yes.
which used to be
Yeah,
there, right?
of
The snake
course.
charmer would come in, and
Yeah.
then there used to be sound, there used to be sight, there used to be
Yes.
touch.
Yeah.
You would say, go
Yeah,
and
touch the snake.
the
Yeah,
snake.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't bite. Yeah, you're right.
So,
Yeah.
so these are the ways in
Connections.
which you form a very different memory part in the brain.
Okay.
The brain, when you read something, you're most likely 30% to remember and 70% will just go off. If you hear it, then possibly another 10% would be added depending on whether you are visual or auditory. But the moment you then reinforce, how do you reinforce? Smell is great way to reinforce. In fact, I tell children that, if you want to learn a difficult thing, go burn a certain vanilla incense stick or some rose or something. Now associate that smell with that difficult problem. Next time when you're appearing in an exam, your smell will come first because you're using another circuit there, and then you will be able to crack the problem.
Right.
So in the brain, you can sort of navigate through all these senses. Now, the deep deeper senses presentation that you do, the better I am able to connect, the better I'll relate, the better I will be able to, have that trust and credibility. Remember those good old days when grandmom used to cook certain things,
that
and
smell used
that
to-
smell used
even today we
even
feel-
today,
yeah.
I'm salivating. That's how the connection of the brain with those images and memory is.
Yeah.
So when I'm selling something, I don't need to be very dry in it. I can bring in the sensory this. So make the person feel, make the person smell, make the person, also touch. That's very important. Now, olfactory science is quite a significantly developed science. When I say olfactory science, let's start with a very simple example of burning incense sticks. I mean, there are cultures right now. We
Yes,
live in Dubai where
yeah.
they put an
Oud,
oud,
yeah.
or back home, I come from India where there's this
agarbattis and the-
agarbatti
the
and all that.
camphor.
Why that used to be there? The first thing in the morning we would light that up.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that? When the olfactory, so when I smell that and it goes into my brain, it sort of deactivates my limbic system.
Okay,
My
calms
fight,
you down.
flight, fear is gone. It calms you down. You can think straight. You can do your work pretty easily. You're fully available. Your focus is there. Your concentration is there. So smell has that power to do that. Now there are certain hotels which use that.
Yeah. You walk in, you feel so
Absolutely.
so amazing about
Absolutely. Now-
you want to be into that hotel because this kind of smell and the music, and I think sound again from the sensory.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that you're walking into a client's office and there is this very pleasant, calm lavender or chamomile type of a very, very soothing smell which is coming in, and there's a green tea also which is kept
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
And then suddenly you don't show aggression to that client
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you
It's
know
already calmed you down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being sensitive, let's
Yeah.
put it that way, being sensitive to
to
the
these.
sensory sensations around you is extremely important.
And I would also look at sensory selling as picking cues from the way people frown when they talk. Like when you're talking to a client and it's like, that frown is also one part of sensory selling because you're trying to give a message that I either liked it or not liked it, or maybe a eyebrow raised and it's like those small split message it's giving that what are you talking, or maybe I'm interested. I don't know. It's you don't create a perception with that, but then these are cues you could take and then reframe. So what do you do when such thing happens? Is
Yes.
you kind of stop and start engaging rather. It's a cue that can you stop and reframe, or can you explain further? It could be anything.
Yeah, true.
Right, like you mentioned in the earlier in our conversation that reframe,
True.
mirror it, talk
Yes.
to the person, disengage if there is something which you're seeing. So I feel sensory selling, or can you repeat the word you said? The
Olfactory science.
olfactory science. Yeah, I think that's basically what it is.
I think everything is all about science.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I'm a fanatic scientist, so
Absolutely, yeah.
we'll look everything from the angle of the science. But
Yeah.
and that's why sensitizing to these senses right from the early childhood is also very important. Very important, because
Yeah.
you should be tuned to smell a certain thing.
Yeah.
You should be tuned to hear the subtle clues. In fact, there is a work which is done by Dr. Carla Hanford, although she has worked for the kids, but it's exactly the same thing which works for adults as well. So we all have dominant eye, ear, hand, and leg function. So for example, I mean, we can try it with the audience. If you put your hand up straight, maybe
Okay,
with
like
a thumb, and then try and see anything which is parallel, and then close your one eye and the other eye. What you will see is in one of the things, your image will be near, and the other
the
one, the image will
wider.
be wider.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The one where it is near is your dominant eye.
Oh.
And then the similar way, the dominant ear, I mean, the way you are sitting, it looks like your dominant ear is the left, because
I'm
yes,
turning.
you're turning to the left ear. Automatically, subconsciously, you do that with the
Okay.
dominant ear, with the
Okay.
dominant eye, and the same thing is with the foot,
Leg.
with the leg. I mean, there was impossible if your left leg was not dominant to have sat for this long. So
Okay.
you get the clue that it's left, and then the way you will, let's say if you do that, where does your arm go?
Yeah, when you
fold, that indicates
always-
your dominant hand.
Okay.
So when Dr. Carla Hanford put all these things together, the dominant brain, the dominant eye, the dominant ear, leg, and arm, she had a completely different pattern of each of the person's learning preferences.
Oh.
So which means you can tell me something, but let's say, I am dominant in all the one single side, I lose you because I'm locked. I cannot understand that.
you cannot correlate and coordinate.
Absolutely. So these are all very interesting, scientific parameters which can be subtly brought in to understand what is happening, behind the scenes, behind the brain of the person whom you're
my
selling
God.
to.
It looks like neurologists can be the best salespeople.
I mean, we do, right? We do sell the health. We do sell the
absolutely.
healthy ideas.
Yeah,
We do
but
that.
this is going beyond that, right? Like typically what salespeople should really understand is beyond your product and services and
Very important for them to prepare their mind also.
Yes.
See, because what I feel is, this the whole entire expectation and the target and the setting of
Yeah.
the sales is making the whole sales thing again going from noble to ignobility. I think it's taking away the nobility of it. So
Yeah.
in that case, what do you need to do? You need to understand how are you calming yourself down.
Yeah.
The breathing that you can use, very quick 4, 7, 8. 4 breathe in, 7 hold, and 8 exhale will quickly calm you down. So rather than, you having that impulsivity, we call it the amygdala hijack.
Right.
When the amygdala hijack happens, amygdala is a small little
Yeah.
almond shaped structure in that limbic, which is sort of the king of the limbic. Gone, you lose your temper, you
Yeah.
become irrational, you cannot think straight. So
Yeah.
very quickly doing that 4, 7, 8 breathing will calm you down.
Yeah.
So having even breathing as anchor, having the other anchors, physical anchors that I talked about, having that imagery of just diffusing it into a
Yeah.
cartoon and just eliminating it very quickly so that you are available again for another round of conversation. This
Right.
is very important.
I think breathing is such an important factor you brought up because that is very much underestimated. When you say breathe and stay calm, just go. People don't really understand I could give you my own example. I was going in for a meeting and I knew, so there was an accident on the road, so obviously got delayed. And I believe in the fact that you should have probably preempted that such things could happen.
Yeah.
But unfortunately that happened and I was getting late to the meeting. And I knew that the client is very specific about the time. And I was 10 minutes late and I was like, what am I going to, I was feeling so apologetic.
True.
And I didn't know what to, but when I just stopped the car and I was just getting down from the car, I said, breathe, like 10 breathes,
Absolutely.
And you can immediately see the magic.
Yes.
You're calm and you're prepared. You come back into your senses and then you go there and say, it happened and I'm sorry about this. Otherwise, you would have completely spoiled the whole meeting.
Absolutely.
Because your brain starts to become like what you said. It's like it's suddenly trying to protect you with the fear of what's going to. You're just creating a lot of story within your head.
And remember that the other person would start to mirror you.
Absolutely.
Emotional mirroring is the commonest thing that happens, You walk into a room where everybody is angry, you will start feeling angry
Yeah.
for no reason. Then you don't
Absolutely.
even know the context
Yes,
of it.
yes.
You enter into a room which is very calm, you automatically feel calm,
Absolutely.
And that is the reason why, understanding what is going on within your mind, within your brain is so important,
Yeah.
And breathing, absolutely being aware.
Yeah.
What is my breath pattern? And then matching to whether my mind is calm. Now, the only way as a bridge to the mind is the breath. So I cannot say, oh, my mind is really super fast, I need to
Yeah.
calm my mind. Oh, calm the mind. It does not happen.
Yeah.
I want to build a biceps, I'm looking at the biceps and saying, hey, biceps build.
Absolutely.
It does not happen,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I really need to get that breath under my control.
Yeah. And practice is the only way to do it, and conscious
Absolutely.
practice.
Absolutely.
And you can't have situations well defined for you. You create your own situations.
Correct.
Like people like today are just coming out of a workshop. I was talking to some of the sales professionals and they were saying, oh, you know what, when I have to really, so much of stress, so much, I don't have a place to sit and calm myself. I said, you don't have
You
to
don't
sit
need
in
to have. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's a concept. You got to really look into yourself and prepare yourself for,
And self-doubt also, I've seen that that's one of the major factors, which is also sort of a pre-programming, I don't think so I can crack such a deal.
Yeah.
I think this is beyond me. I don't think so this is possible to happen.
Yeah.
It's all the limbic fears,
Right.
which is sort of putting us down. The moment
Yeah.
you start to use your prefrontal cortex, sort of everything becomes a possibility,
Sorted.
everything becomes a probability that yes, I can make this happen. You start to gain that confidence. You
Right.
know that this is possible. So
Yeah.
this is where, I also feel that people must learn and have some hacks where they can have the prefrontal cortex. In our lab, when we brought in all these peak performers, I mean, it was all for my sake. I wanted to have a
Read
better
them
brain
and understand, yeah.
because simply, this is
Right.
the Ferrari of your life.
Yes,
I mean, I
yeah.
may have the perfect body. I may be a macho man. I may have all the muscles there, but if this goes off,
Absolutely.
life is
Yeah,
gone,
yeah.
right?
That's your main circuit box.
Yeah. It's my CPU.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
have to keep my CPU intact.
Yeah.
So when I was studying their lifestyles, these are all big people, let's say leaders, and then CEOs in different firms and all. When we say they are peak performers, see, they are not something. They've not gone to different schools.
Absolutely.
They've not done things which are different. So what is it that they have done differently? They've trained their mind. They've
Yeah.
trained their brain into these processes.
Yes.
And visualization is again a very good way in which you can prepare the brain to have that. Now, for example, you have a sales meeting. You know that tomorrow this is an important thing that you need to go through.
Correct.
The brain does not understand between what is visualized and what is the actual scenario. So if I play it in my mind, and now, for example, this very much podcast that we are talking about also was played in my mind before I came in.
Okay.
The moment you play that over and over again in your mind, you're just visualizing it.
Yeah.
You actually produce those chemicals. You practice those circuits, which will be now ready for you.
Right.
And that is the reason why somewhere manifestation does work. And in fact, neuro manifestation is our hot selling course.
Okay.
And I 100% believe that it's not about sticking things that, oh, this is the
Yeah.
sales deal,
Yeah.
or this is the house and this is the car and all. No, it is
to
that
feel it.
feeling.
Yeah.
You have to really feel it. You
Yeah.
need to replay it.
Yeah.
You need to have that brain prepared that this is what I need to do, and it does.
Yeah.
So making it your master,
Yeah.
making it to do the things that you want,
want.
it's in your hand.
Yeah, and I think completely correlates to what we say in sales, that prepare before the meeting, and that preparation
Is
means-
visualization.
Is visualization, and you're
Precisely.
preempting what could go right or wrong.
Precisely.
And then you're like, you're playing it. You already played the meeting in your head.
Yeah.
You know what things can go wrong. So, and you're actually
See, people
fixing
do
it.
scenario analysis.
Yes.
Now, scenario analysis or risk analysis is very, very left brain, left upper, very, very, data centric.
Right.
But that is nothing to do with empathy or the trust or that thing of actually feeling that it is happening.
Right.
That is where we need to bring in, these kind of visualization which can make or break the person's deal.
Great. So I think it was a great conversation, Dr. Shweta.
Thank
How do people reach you before I
Yes.
wrap up? And
So thank you for this invitation. And as we said, we are all selling something and
Yes.
we are all buying something. It is always about, learning these subtle nuances, practicing them,
Yes.
applying them. There's a lot of supply, but it's actually also about the
I
apply,
like
right?
that. Supply to apply.
Yes,
That's such
so
a critical aspect,
I
right?
think your and mine course is also coming up,
Yes.
which is on the neuro sales.
Sales, yes.
And it is talking about all these and easily applicable frameworks. We
Yes.
just talked about a lot of theory, but how do I remember what kind of an olfactory activation that I need to
Yeah.
do?
How do I apply it?
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
we will be
yeah.
bringing a lot of these facts as well.
Yes.
But yes, my information is available on www.drshwetaarathia.com and
on LinkedIn?
yes, and limitlessbrainlab.com.
Yes.
All the work that we do and everything is all at drshweta.arathia. Thank
Great.
you.
So for all your audience, supply to apply is what is sitting in my mind, that there's so much of information out there, but how are you applying is the most critical aspect of it. I think it was brilliant conversation with Dr. Shweta. As Dr. Shweta mentioned, we both are collaborating together to bring more content to y'all, and there are multiple courses which is coming up. You can reach out to Dr. Shweta on her LinkedIn, on her Limitless Lab, on a website, and have questions to her, write to us. And if you're really interested to have more information, keep subscribing to Sales Igniter. We are here to bring the best to the sales professionals so that you can really progress and progress well and create engagements, create relationship with your clients. This is Leena Jayachandran signing off.